Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am your teacher, Dr. Khurram Shehzad, and we are talking about Unit 8 of your book. In this lecture, we will cover some of the other objectives of this chapter. So, our today's topic is attitude towards our learning, active learning and attention. So, what is the relationship of our attitude towards our attention? So if you are positive in your attitude, okay, and if you know that you are supposed to focus on your study, so of course it means you are paying attention. Adopt the attitude and study habits that focus attention and help retention. So unless you focus on your attention, you cannot help your retention. So use the RMO system. RMO stands for read, mark and organize. If you remember, we have talked about active learning. Active learner is a person who actively participates, gets involved in learning. He is a person who has got his objectives. He is a person or she is a person, they always sit with an objective in their mind, and they know that they are doing business. Their business is to study the books. Their business is to study the topic which has been assigned to them by their teachers, okay? So they are always involved, they remain occupied and busy. And we know that they always have got a ballpoint in their hand so that they should be ready to make notes. Because making notes or taking notes play a very important role in your learning. It means that you are displaying an attitude which is required from a good student. It means that you are focused. It means that you want to do your business. So if you have got a ballpoint, you have got a notebook, okay, or even the book that you are using, like Carol's book that you are using, okay, it gives you a lot of space, margins, okay. So you can use a highlighter, and you can highlight some of the interesting and important things, okay, that you feel that he is actually talking about. For example, if we look at the book and page number 196, and he talks about that use the RMO, read, mark and organize. So read with a pen in hand, make marginal notes, write definitions, brief examples or 2-line summaries, then review your notes. So this is very important that you are taking notes, okay. As I told you that you should read against the grain. Do not accept as it is whatever you are reading. Challenge it, okay. Raise your questions and make notes. And if you do not get the answer of the questions that you are noting down, okay, then next in your next class, ask your teacher that I have read this thing, I am unable to understand this thing. Could you please explain it again? So you should have a ballpoint and you should have a dictionary with you. I have already talked about that dictionary will help you to understand the meanings of difficult words. No doubt, when we are reading, we come across such type of words that we sometimes do not know their meaning. The very first thing is, in order to add vocabulary to your mind, you should make inference. When you are reading a word, you should look at the context, that in what context this word is being used. Let me give you an example. Now example has come to my mind. There is a word tea, and I say tea has fallen down, bring a mop. Tea has fallen down, bring a mop. Tea has fallen down, bring a broom. Tea has fallen down, pick it up and put it on the shelf. Now, here the word tea is used in 3 different contexts, in 3 different meanings. And every time I speak the word tea, the other sentence, it helps us to understand that what kind of tea is being discussed. When I say tea has fallen down, bring a broom, it means that tea is not in liquid form. Okay, it means tea leaves. When I say tea has fallen down, bring a mop, it means that tea is in liquid form, and you need to bring a mop in order to clear. Tea has fallen down, pick it up and put it on the shelf. It means that the tea is in jar and the tea jar has fallen down. So every sentence, just by adding the new sentence, it changed the whole meaning of the word tea. So the very first thing that you need to understand is the context. See that in what particular context this word is being used. Can you make a guess? Can you make an inference? If you can make a guess, you are a very good student. If you can make a guess, it means you can understand the meaning, and you do not need to, go through a dictionary. You are not supposed to look this word up into the dictionary. But if you cannot understand, then obviously you will have to look this word into the dictionary. So you should have a good dictionary with you, okay, and you should read the dictionary. Don't skip over words whose meanings you do not understand. First reread the sentence and the ones just before and after it. You may be also able to figure out the meaning based on the context in which the word appears. If that fails, turn to your dictionary. And I told you, when you are turning to your dictionary, okay, it's very important, not only the meaning but also the usage of the word you should concentrate on. You should try to find out that how this particular word is to be used. Whether it is a noun or it is a verb, or it is both, or it is an adjective too. So you need to know, you need to understand different shades of its meaning. And I would like to share my experience with you. When I was a student, okay, and I was interested in learning English language, I still remember I used to come in Namal bus, okay, and I used to read newspaper, and I used to highlight those words I was unable to understand. Then I had a separate notebook in which I used to jot down the difficult words, and then when I went back home, I used to look them up in the dictionary, and then I used to write down their meanings. And while traveling, okay, flying back my home, I used to learn them by heart. And I always tried that I should use these words in my interaction with my teachers or with my class fellows. So this is how I retained, and now I sometimes recall, the words. So you should also apply such type of strategies to improve your vocabulary, so that next time when you come across the same word, you should not have any problem. Then, monitor your thinking while studying. So this is very important again, that you are monitoring yourself, you are evaluating yourself, assessing yourself. You are looking at that what you are doing, how much you have understood, how much you have not been able to understand, okay, and where the problem lies. Are your goals realistic or not? Are your goals measurable or not? You should have realistic attitude, you should have realistic goals, and you should monitor your progress to see that how much you have learned. And if the problems are there, you are making notes, you are unable to understand, discuss it with your teacher. That is very important. Discuss it, with your class fellows, and share your ideas and their ideas. Try to understand. You cannot understand, come back to the classroom. Okay, knock at the door of your teacher. Ask him or her that you have applied your, resources, your energy, but you have not been able to understand this. So please clarify this concept. So this is how we can move forward. Then the next step we need to understand is manage the stages of memory. We have got different stages. Understand how your memory works to process information efficiently and to minimize forgetting. I told you we human beings forget, okay, because if we do not forget, then we cannot remember, the good things that we need to remember. So our behavior, attitude, concentration, okay, all these things are very important. The 3 R's of memory. And one thing that is very important, while you are reading, keep in mind 3 simple truths about memory. Number 1, it is normal to forget, okay? So it is not that if you are forgetting, you should start blaming yourself, though, that I cannot remember anything. Everybody forgets, even I forget. So it is normal to forget. You can't remember what you do not understand. This is very important. If you are not getting something, how can you remember it? So focus your attention on the piece of text that you are reading, on the topic which is under discussion. Okay, try to understand it. If you are just going through the words and the paragraphs or passages, okay, and you don't know what you are reading, or after 5 minutes you come back, okay, and then you again start to read and you say, oh, I don't know, I don't remember what I read. It means you could not understand anything. So you can't remember what you do not understand. Memory is a process that can be strengthened and managed. So there are certain steps that we need to take in order to strengthen our memory, in order to manage our memory. So there are 3 R's of memory. Okay, there are 3 R's of memory. So what are these 3 R's? Memory is the mental process that enables you to retain and recall past experience. And 3 R's of memory are record, retain, recall. Record, retain, and recall. Okay, and I will be explaining this, but let me show you this diagram as well. Okay, record, first of all, the very first thing we human beings do is that we record. And how can we record? We will have to pay attention. And how can we pay attention? We will have to eliminate distractions. How can we eliminate distractions? We will have to choose a place where there is no noise. We will have to sit in a place, where there are no distractions. Nobody is creating noise. Nobody is listening to music. Nobody is watching television. And you are sitting comfortably, okay? And you are concentrating. So when you are concentrating, you are recording. When you are recording, you are making use of sensory memory. What is sensory memory? How do we give, input to our memory? Through our visual, senses, through our, audio or audio senses. So our memory, it records when we are making use of our senses. So senses are 5: sight, hearing, taste, smell, and touch. So when we are reading, we are touching the notebook. We are making use of our hand. We are reading what we are reading. We have got a ballpoint. We have got a highlighter. We are making use of the highlighter. So the more and more of senses we are making use of, we are making a good record of our memory. So record, retain, then you will retain. And we have talked about that there is short-term memory and there is long-term memory. So short-term memory, it is, from 1 to 2 minutes. Long-term memory for a longer period of time, okay? And how do you convert something from your short-term memory to long-term memory? Through practice. I have internalized how to drive. I have inculcated in me how to deliver a lecture, how to become a good teacher, how to become an effective teacher. You need to, internalize how to become a good reader, how to become a good student. And this we will do through practice. Due to this lockdown, COVID-19, people were sitting home. I was sitting home. And for 1 month, I did not take out my car. And I was thinking, I don't know whether I will be able to drive or not. But when I came out, okay, I took my car out. I remembered, I knew that how I am going to drive. Because I internalized this system of driving. Okay, so the steps that you are supposed to follow, the practice that you are making, it will help you retain and then recall the things that you are reading, the things that are very important for learning. So 3 R's of memory: record means to select and focus on something you want to remember. You do not need to remember everything. You need to remember selective things. You need to remember only those things which are very important to you. So record only those things with the help of the senses that Allah Almighty has given to you. Eyes, ears, sight, smell, taste, and try to make use of all of them. Then you will make a good record. Then retain. Retain means to store information or keep it in your memory for later use, okay? For example, later use is your, examination. You are supposed to rewrite, discuss, apply the knowledge that you have learned in your classroom in your papers, or apply the knowledge that you have learned in your university in your practical life. Okay, if you are a not good student, you cannot become a good person later on. So try to inculcate these study skills, okay, in yourself, so that we should become good person once we leave this university. Then recall means to retrieve, recognize, or remember stored information. So the information that we have stored, we need to remember it, we need to recall it, so that we should get good result. Then sensory memory, the next thing I have already explained. Okay, memory. Sensory memory takes in data from the senses and registers it fleetingly. Selective attention, we always pay selective attention. Selective attention is a process that enables you to focus your attention on certain things, ignoring others. For example, you are reading a text, and once you come to know that this is the central idea of this paragraph, so you know that the authors, they always give examples in order to support their central idea. Now, these examples, it is not necessary to keep them in your mind, but the central idea is very important. You need to understand that central idea with the help of examples, as I am also giving you examples from my personal experience. When you concentrate, you apply selective attention, okay? Short-term memory, also called working memory, has a limited capacity and retains information such as the name of someone you just met for less than a minute or just a minute. Long-term memory has a vast capacity, is more or less permanent, and retains information such as learned skills and personal experiences. So the learned skills, okay, that you are learning in the classroom, you need to retain them, you need to make them part of your long-term memory. For example, this is the 8th unit, and in the previous 7 chapters we have learned so many things. We have learned what are the good objectives, smart objectives. We have learned that how you can become an effective reader. We have learned that how you can become an active reader. We have learned that how you can become an active listener. We have learned that how you can make use of your cognitive abilities, how you can concentrate, how you can focus your attention, how you can eliminate your distraction. So we have learned so many things. How you can take notes, how you can make good timetables, how you can make effective use of your time. All these things play an important role, you know, in the life of a student as well as in the life of a human being. Okay, then we move forward, and making retention an active and effective process. So this is also very important. Motivate yourself. If you are motivated, internally motivated, of course you are going to get good grades. You are not running after the teachers, then please give me good marks, which usually students they do. So we should avoid this thing. We should never ask the teacher, okay, give me good marks. Your attitude towards your studies, your behavior towards your studies, your understanding of knowledge, and the way you are going to attempt the papers, and the way you are going to present yourself, give presentations in the classroom, the way you are going to attempt your assignments, all are going to play a very good role. And of course, if you do them well, you will get good marks. So motivate yourself that you should become on the top, that you should be the first person who should be standing first in the classroom. It should not be that you are the backbencher. It should not be that I will study tomorrow. It should not be that you are wasting time and you are saying that, okay, I will study tomorrow, or you are doing multitasking. Avoid doing such type of things. Motivate yourself. Achieve your goals. Try to come up to the expectations of your parents. Okay, deliver. Because your parents are spending lot of money on you. So make a good use of this money. Make a good use of your time. Do not waste your time. Listen and read actively. Okay, listen to your teacher, listen to your parents, listen to everybody, and read actively. Okay, raise questions, highlight important things, make notes, recite and review. So this is also one of the skills that I think we have covered. Reciting meaning that sometimes you open up a book and you read aloud. So when you are reading loudly, you are in a position to understand, you are hearing yourself, and when you are listening to yourself, you are making use of your auditory senses and skills. So in this way you can remember, in this way you can retain certain things. So recite and then review. So then review whatever you have done. Okay, make your notes, review your notes, and if there are some gaps, fill them up. Do all assigned work. It's very important for a student to do all kind of assignments, okay, which all the teachers, they are assigning you. They are for your betterment, they are for your good. When you do the assignments, teachers are happy. When they are happy, they will be giving you good marks. Okay, so and then lastly we have practice. So do practice. Okay, if you are not practicing, you cannot become a good student. Practice makes a man perfect. Power your memory. Tips to use common memory techniques to focus your study and enhance your learning. Consciously think, decide that you are going to remember. And how will you remember? Making use of your memory, making use of your senses, putting the things in the short-term memory, and then from there taking them to long-term memory through practice, through reading, through active reading. Review regularly. Stay relaxed. Don't be in panic. If you are confused about certain things, talk to your teacher. Tell your teacher, tell your parents that you are not getting this thing. It is not clear to you. Go to the library, making use of other resources. Go on internet. Okay, check things out over there. Listen to some other videos and see how different people, they have talked about different things. Use mnemonics, acronyms. For example, I discuss a speaking model. So when different letters, they are put together and the word, for example, speaking is created. So it will help you to remember that speaking means setting, participants, goals, ends, communicative acts, instrumentality, norms and genre. So acronyms or mnemonic devices, they help you remember certain things. So you can make use of different letters, like we have already done the word, there was a PACE. In the recent lectures we have talked about PACE. P stands for participation, A stands for active reading, C stands for commitment, and E stands for engagement. So PACE, the word, a mnemonic device, helped me to remember that it stands for these 4 different things. Associate to remember. We can associate certain ideas with certain objects, certain things with certain other things that we already know. So association will help us to remember. Then visualization, that is also very important. When you are reading something, try to visualize. Okay, take it in your mind. When you visualize, you will keep it for a long period of time. So with this we come to the end of our lecture, but again let me summarize. So in this lecture we have talked about that how we can retain something in our memory, and what is short-term memory, what is long-term memory, and how we can make use of our senses like seeing, listening, hearing, like smelling, tasting. And when you are making use of all these senses, you are going to record something very important, and once it is recorded, you have concentrated on it, you are going to retain it for a longer period of time. And if you can retain it, you can recall it, okay, and you can recall it and you can do well in your papers. So then we have talked about some other tips as well, like deciding to remember, reviewing regularly, staying relaxed, using mnemonics or acronyms, associating to remember, and visualizing. So thank you very much.